And we're gonna get started on the 60th chapter, I want to say, of the Exploring the Arsenal series, featuring me, Asian Psycho, aka Sniper98. And this time we're gonna be taking a look at the TAR-21 family. This gun is pretty infamously known for its relatively poor performance by most Combat Arms users. But hopefully this review will actually turn your opinions around on the TAR-21 somewhat. But as a general overview, the TAR-21 is better than what people give it, tell you it is. Like, people have given it a very bad rap because of its very, very obvious cons. But the TAR-21 is actually better than you might think. However, it's still not the most noob-friendly assault rifle. In fact, it's probably one of the worst even then. But anyways, guys, let's get started on the TAR-21 review. So a little bit of background information on the TAR-21. The TAR-21 is an Israeli rifle. I want to say it's an Israeli bullpup rifle. I think its name is officially the TAVOR-21, TAVOR assault rifle. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I'm probably just pulling that one out of my ass too, cause I really didn't do any background information on the TAR-21 in terms of its like real life TAR-21, but I mean, Combat Arms Wiki seems to agree with me. Yeah, even they call it the TAVOR assault rifle 21st century, and it's by IMI, which is Israeli military. I don't even know, but I know they're an Israeli military company. Whether or not they're politically affiliated, I don't know, but whatever. The TAVOR. I might end up calling the TAR-21 the TAVOR at times. So if you guys do hear me call the TAR-21 the TAVOR, then you guys know why. In relations to the TAR-21 found in Combat Arms, the cost for it is 1100 GP for 1 day, and 5390 GP for a week. Now let's move on. Oh, by the way, it is unlocked at the rank of Second Lieutenant 1. Now let's move on to the statistics of the TAR-21. The damage isn't so bad at 39. This is 1 point higher than your standard M4A1, and it's pretty much the same as the XK8, which I just did a review on just recently. I think like a couple weeks ago. So the damage isn't necessarily bad, but it could have a little bit of improvement. But overall, it's not too bad. As for its damage drop-off, because it is an assault rifle, the damage drop-off isn't that bad. I mean, it does take a little bit more bullets to knock someone down at long range as it is at close range, but still it's not as bad as some other assault rifles that are out there. In terms of portability, the portability on the TAR-21, Combat Arms Wiki says that it has a very slow portability at 57. It's as slow as the G36E. The G36E, I know for a fact that gun is pretty slow. However, the TAR-21 doesn't really feel as slow as they say it is. I feel like it has a portability of like 59 or 60. I think it's as fast as the XK8. So I personally think that the portability stat that appears on Combat Arms Wiki is inaccurate. Either that or Combat Arms has fucked up the stats on the TAVOR once again. But I mean, it is what it is. It's got 57 portability. Technically speaking, anyway, the TAR-21 is pretty slow. Rate of fire. The rate of fire on the TAVOR is at a 74. So this is the same as we'll find it on the M4A1 or other 74 rate of fire assault rifles. But actually, about the rate of fire, the muzzle noise, I'll mention this again when I actually get around to talk about the muzzle noise. The muzzle noise on the TAR-21, it sounds as if the rate of fire is not as fast as, say, the M4A1. It could just be a complete placebo effect, like, oh, just because it just sounds like its fire slower. But I honestly feel like the TAR-21 doesn't fire as fast as your M416 or your M4A1. I don't know. It could just be me. But the muzzle noise on the TAR-21 just sounds as it makes the TAVOR sound as if it doesn't actually fire as fast. Then again, it's up to you to judge. The accuracy on the TAR-21 is at a relatively high 86, so it's higher than your I want to say the AUG-A1, I think that had an 85 accuracy, I want to say. But however, unfortunately, you can't really utilize that accuracy to its fullest potential because the TAR-21 has a forced ITEC sight, so you can't really attach like an ACOG or much less a sniper rifle scope to it. So unfortunately, the accuracy is kind of wasted, but still, it's got a really good range. And as long as you're hitting something within the TAVOR's range, you're hitting something. So I mean, to me anyway, it's not something to complain about. Because the TAR-21, you shouldn't really use it for very long ranges anyway. Just stick to middle ranges, close range, you should be fine. Recoil. Now, the TAVOR's main con is its abysmal recoil. The recoil on the TAR-21 says Combat Arms Wiki rates it as a 68. I'm surprised that Commodore Arms didn't give it an outright 70, as heavy as the AK, because I honestly think that the TAR-21 has as bad as as recoil spread and pattern, whatever you want to call it, as the AK-47. It might be a little bit better, but it's not much. Because the thing about the recoil, let's go a little bit more in depth about the actual recoil on the Tavor itself. The recoil spread is absolutely batshit terrible. There's no way, there's nothing, or there's no way we can get around it. The Tavor spread in Commodore Arms is horrible, and that is probably one of the main reasons why I can see anyway that people don't like the Tavor. The recoil spread just gets out of hand way too quickly. Like, you barely fire 3 shots with this thing, and already the spread's already like 25% larger. I'm probably pulling that number out of my ass too, but literally, you use the TAR-21, and at middle range, there's no go. You have to use your scope. The TAR-21's recoil spread, you have to use your scope at middle range. That's how bad the recoil spread is. I mean, the AK-47 is excusable because the rate of fire isn't as fast as, you know, the TAR-21's. Also, it's so powerful that all you need to do is just put a few shots into your enemy and most likely they'll be dead. The TAR-21 is not like that. It doesn't have AK damage, and it's got a lot faster of a rate of fire than the AK does. Thus, your recoil spread will just go out of hand so much more quickly that it's almost as if you're shooting an AK without the damage. And you'll find that your ammo runs out a lot more quickly too, which obviously you don't want. So that is one of the main disadvantages of the TAR-21, the fact that the recoil spread, just as recoil spread itself, is just so batshit terrible that most people don't even want to use it. Moving on to the Recoil Kickback. The Recoil Kickback itself isn't too bad, but here's another problem with the Recoil Kickback on the Tavor. If you try a Tapfire with this, the Tapfire itself, remember how I mentioned the Tapfire aspect in my previous episode, I think with the SK8 or the SK8 Tactical, where I discussed like the jamming of Tapfiring and the over-tapfiring feature. I think I mentioned that jamming is when you try to Tapfire too fast and your gun doesn't actually shoot when you click. And then over-tap firing is when you tap fire so fast that your gun still fires whenever you click. It's just that the scope just starts going wobbly. The TAR-21 doesn't jam, but it does over-tap fire very easily, and fortunately, the over-tap firing feature mechanism on the TAR-21 isn't too bad. I think if you tap fire too rapidly for like the first 2 or 3 shots, it just stops going up and down as it should for most assault rifles, and it immediately starts going diagonal to most of the time it'll go diagonal up to the left, but I have seen it go up to the right as well. In fact, it might be half and half, but then again, that's for you guys to find out for yourselves, and whichever you prefer. But it's not as fast as the AEK, and but because the AEK is, oh my god, that thing over tap fire is like fucking that assault rifle is probably has the worst over tap firing syndrome of any assault rifle combiners, but we'll get to that when we actually review the AEK when it comes up. But the TAR-21 is one notch below that, but it's still pretty bad. You can over tap fire with the Tavor pretty damn easily, and it can get really annoying, especially if you're trying to aim at targets at long range, and the diagonal kickback can really throw you off. As for kickback in terms of what is it again? Just hipfire spread, like you're just spraying from the hip and not actually aiming down sight. Besides, the recoil kickback itself isn't actually too bad. In fact, it's just left and right. It might throw your aim off a little bit, but it's not. It's definitely not bad at all. Moving on to the overall recoil controllability. The recoil controllability overall is just very, very bad. It's just very, very difficult to master on the TAR-21. Not only because the fact of the matter is that the recoil spread is exacerbated by the fact that TAR-21 has relatively low center speed, or slow center speed, I should say, whereas other weapons like the FAMAS or the what was it again, the KH-2002, those kinds of weapons have extremely fast center speed. Like, they just snap back instantly. But the Tavor has one of the slower ones. It's not the slowest. In fact, I don't really know which assault rifle has the slowest center speed. I think it's like the AK or something like that. I mean, it would be reasonable, right? But the Tavor is pretty slow on the center speed department. So that coupled with the fact that the recoil spread just gets way out of hand way too quickly, yeah, the recoil controllability overall is not very good. It's extremely difficult with the TAR-21. for a first-time user anyway. Moving on to the sprint drawback. The sprint drawback on the TAR-21 is relatively fast. It's nothing to go wild over, so don't really expect it to, save your life a lot. You'll still run into situations where, you're sprinting, and then suddenly the enemy comes around the corner and starts spraying at you and gets a headshot or something just because of the fact that you were still in your sprint mode, and your character was taking too long to bring up your TAR-21. You'll definitely have those moments. I mean, at least I know I did. Moving on to the draw speed. The draw speed on the TAR-21 is actually on the faster side of things, but just barely. It's not too fast, but it's definitely faster than I want to say it's faster than the M4A1's draw speed, but then again, I don't know. It just feels fast. Moving on to the what's next here? Reload speed. The reload speed, or the center speed rather, because draw speed, center speed. Center speed on the TAR-21 I've already mentioned before, but it's definitely not the fastest. In fact, it's probably one of the slower ones. But I mean, as long as you give the TAR-21 enough time to for its recoil to settle back after you fired it for a little bit, then you should be fine. However, you shouldn't really take that for granted. Moving on to the reload speed. The reload speed on the TAR-21, it reloads kind of like the L85A1, but the second half of the reload animation is a little bit different, where the L85A1, the charging handle is on the right side of the gun, whereas the TAR-21's charging handle is on the left side of the gun. So in that respect, it's kind of different, but the TAR-21's initial reload animation, the first stage of it anyway, is identical to the L85A1's. Like, the first stages. That's his reload speed. It's not too bad. It's more like moderate. I mean, it's nothing to be all hyped up over. It's not bad, but it's not good either. I mean, it is an assault rifle. Moving on to the fire modes. The fire modes on the TAR-21. Thankfully, the TAR-21 does have a 3-round burst to compensate for the fact that it does have very high recoil. Oh, well, another thing about the recoil spread is that the recoil spread on the TAR-21 is identical to the. It's got the same running Hipfire spread as the G36E, but it's got the starting spread of the M4A1, so it's pretty much the worst of both worlds. So there you go. That could be another factor in why the recoil spread on the TAR-21 is just so batshit bad. Moving on to its luck, the TAR-21 is very unlucky. Usually you won't be getting a lot of lottos. The TAR-21 does seem to get its fair share of lottos, I've found, but to me anyway, it doesn't get you very many headshots, unless of course you actually aim for them. Moving on to the ammo capacity. The ammo capacity on the TAR-21 is standard at 30 rounds per magazine and 90 reserve, so nothing too special there. Moving on to, I want to say, the key physical characteristics. The TAR-21 is a bullpup assault rifle, and for those of you guys who have played Modern Warfare 2, I believe the TAR-21 is also featured in Modern Warfare 2 as well. It's pretty much the same. It pretty much looks the same in Modern Warfare 2. So yeah, except for the fact that the TAR-21 in this game has an attached iTech scope. So other than that, if you remove the iTech scope, it pretty much looks the same from Modern Warfare 2. Moving on to the what was it again? The muzzle noise. I want to say it's the muzzle noise next. The muzzle noise on the TAR-21, it's weird. It's very low frequency. It sounds like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you're slapping something that's making like a really deep noise. I don't even know. Like, it sounds like really dull sandpaper scratching against each other. I mean, I know I've said that for other weapons as well, but TAR-21 especially, it sounds like just sandpaper. You're just slapping the air, and that's what makes the noise for this. Good job, Combat Arms. But anyways, that's what the muzzle noise sounds like. It's actually really quiet. It's actually really quiet even without a silencer. So it's just because of the fact that it's low frequency. Many people will not recognize that you're firing at all if you're in a room full of people shooting their weapons at the same time. But if you are alone and people do hear you fire TAR-21, they will immediately recognize. Well, if they know what they're hearing, then they will know that you'll be using the TAR-21. And because the TAR-21 has that kind of bad rap that it's a shitty gun, people will probably come after you, thinking that you're an easy kill because you're using the TAR-21, unless you're a super uber pro with the TAR-21 and you can just rape anyone who tries to come at you. So if you're not that kind of person, you're trying out the TAR-21 just because you feel like it, then try to either I don't really recommend suppressors unless they're obviously integrated, because then you don't really have anything to do. You can't really do anything by that point. But I don't usually recommend silencers with this. But with the TAR-21, it might not be such a bad idea. But try to flank people. Try to flank people with the TAR-21 and go into rooms where there are lots of people shooting at the same time. So the other people's guns can actually mask out your own, so you don't have to worry about people coming after you. I mean, most of the time anyway, if you break away from the rest of the group. Moving on to the, I believe the next one is Fireteam worthy. Is it Fireteam worthy? I mean, not really, because I mean the TAR-21, the damage is nowhere as good as it should be. I mean, honestly speaking, even though technically Tavor has 1 point higher damage than the M41, I honestly feel like the M41 would be a lot better in quarantine, or not quarantine, Fireteam than the Tavor would be, just because it's the fact that the muzzle noise just makes the Tavor feel really weak. I don't even know, but anyways, that's that. Moving on to whether or not it's quarantine worthy. Fuck no, because most of the time assault rifles isn't what you want to bring to quarantine anyway. And finally, one last bit of information about the TAR-21 is that it is able to be upgraded, and as with all other Mark II variants, I will be doing reviews on the Mark II variants as well as the TAR-21 and the TAR-21 camo. So interestingly enough, the MTAR-21 and the MTAR-21 camo do not have Mark II variants, which is kind of surprising because usually Nexon would release Mark II variants of all variants of a particular family. But it looks like they didn't here, maybe they were too lazy, I don't know. But I don't know. The Mark II, it is able to be upgraded to Mark II, and for you guys who do not know how to obtain Mark II variants of any weapon that is able to be upgraded, simply go to your Emporium, the gun Emporium, go to jobs, and scroll down until you see the weapon you want to upgrade, accept that job, and go out and get 100 kills with that weapon, and then afterwards you will have a chance to upgrade it. Just click the complete button once you're done getting 100 kills with that particular weapon, and you should automatically have your upgraded weapon. And there you go. Enjoy. So yeah, as my frank personal opinions on the TAR-21, when the TAR-21 first came out, I absolutely fucking hated it. I'm not gonna lie, I fucking hated it. Usually I perform decently well with any kind of weapon, even if it's like a really shitty weapon that no one else ever uses, because it, you know, everyone thinks it sucks or something like that. But the TAR-21, man, that thing sucked so much ass back in the day. Now after all that time, ever since it was initially released back in 2009, it's not so bad anymore. I don't know what Nexon did with it. Either Nexon secretly buffed it a little bit, or I just accumulated more skill over the years. Oh yeah, we all know how that went. But the TAR-21 isn't as bad as most people say it is. I mean, I've yet to run into someone who says the TAR-21 is actually an excellent assault rifle, but the TAR-21 is not as bad as what people say it is. It's not bad at all. And if you guys do think it's terrible, then I really highly recommend you guys actually try it out. But for those guys who have already tried it out very recently and you still think it sucks, then I understand completely, because, you know, the TAR-21, it only has a few cons. Trust me, it only does. It only has, like, you know, the recoil is pretty much the only big thing about the TAR-21 that makes people get turned off by it. But that particular con is just so great that it just basically, you know, outshines all other aspects about the TAR-21 that would otherwise make it pretty attractive to players in combat arms. But I mean, if you control the recoil on the TAR-21, then it means that you can control the recoil on virtually any other weapon other than the AK-47, of course, and maybe the AN-94. But yeah, the recoil is the biggest disadvantage that the TAR-21 offers, and unfortunately, that disadvantage seriously turns off a lot of people, and it's unfortunate because let me try saying that again. It's unfortunate. Yes, I've said it right this time. It's unfortunate because the TAR-21 is actually a pretty decent assault rifle. It's definitely, I'm not saying it's the best. It's not the best, and neither you can argue that it's not even a good assault rifle either. Just at least you gotta give it credit for where it's due. To me, anyway, it's a decent assault rifle. I can put up good scores with it, but it's pretty difficult, and I actually have to. It's not like other overpowered weapons. I don't even have to try to get really big scores with. The TAR-21, you kind of have to work for your kills. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the TAR-21 review, and yeah, I will be doing the other reviews very soon, so I don't know when, but hopefully very soon. Anyways, guys, thank you guys very much for watching, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the gameplay. If I haven't cut it off, if the gameplay isn't going to end very soon anyway. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Good shit.
Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start.
Roger that.
Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start.
Double kill. Double kill.
Round start.
Headshot.
Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Alpha team wins.